Welcome to Prepare to Write. I'm Dr. Keely Mohan Doyle. For every major writing project, you will be asked to conduct a peer review where you provide feedback to your classmates on their writing. This video lecture will briefly explain why we do peer review and how to provide effective feedback to your classmates. Peer review is the exercise of sharing your work with your classmates in order to receive feedback for revision. You might be asking, if the professor is going to review our papers, why do we have to do peer review? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are a few reasons. The first is that while you will receive feedback from your professor on every draft, the professor is just one person with one perspective. Your classmates may come up with ideas or options that they didn't think of, and that are even better than what the professor suggests. Take your classmates' feedback seriously. The second reason is that in any given semester, your professor may have 15 to 50 other students who also have papers that need feedback. At 20 minutes per paper, which is generous, that's anywhere from 5 to 17 hours worth of commenting that they need to do per major project. While your professor will always do their best to provide you with helpful feedback, it is possible that they miss something. Your classmates can help catch this. They may also be able to get you feedback faster than the professor, since they only have 2 or 3 papers to review. That way, you can start revising earlier. Finally, your classmates all have the same assignments and knowledge as you. It can be helpful to you to read over their papers and see how they approached the same assignment. To complete a peer review, you should follow these steps. First, review the assignment sheet and any grading rubrics that you are given for each major project. This will remind you of the requirements so you can point out any missing elements to the writer. You can also use the rubric almost like a checklist to guide your feedback. Next, read through the writer's paper once straight through. Since you have never read the paper before, you need to acquaint yourself with the writer's topic and style before you can make any judgments about what they have done well or what they need to work on. During your second reading of the writer's paper, have a pen in your hand or a document open on your computer so you can take notes about the things that stand out to you. After reading the paper twice, you can begin to provide them feedback to help with revision. You should focus on content and organization, not grammar. It doesn't matter if every comma is in the right place if they have not followed the major requirements of the assignment. If you notice sections that are difficult to understand because of grammar, you can point these out. Otherwise, leave grammar to the professor. As you give feedback, point to specific sections, paragraphs, and lines where you think improvements could be made to help the writer focus their revision. Remember to be kind. Even though you may be telling the writer that they have done something wrong or that they need to improve, you can do so without being a jerk. Remember, you have people looking at your paper too. How would you want them to offer you feedback? There are different ways that you can give feedback that can soften the blow. One is to offer workable suggestions. That means that you can make a specific suggestion about a change you think they should make. If you want to be less direct, you can use guiding questions or offer different options that the writer could choose from. Your aim is helpful feedback that the writer can actually use. While I doubt any of you will say it, saying, "This sucks," is rude and not helpful. Feedback like, "Add more dialogue," or "I don't understand," aren't that much better. They are too vague and don't explain why you think there's a problem. Helpful feedback explains where in the paper you noticed an issue and provides specific suggestions for how to address it. Here are a couple of examples. It is also important to give praise where you can. Having someone else, particularly your classmates, read your paper can be nerve-wracking. It's even worse when all they do is tell you that your paper is a mess and that you need to fix it. Focus in on parts of the paper that you think work well. As with providing feedback, you want your praise to be helpful. Explain to the writer why you like the parts that you did. This will help them when they try to apply similar strategies to other parts of this paper and to future papers. Once you complete the peer review, you should read through the feedback that you received from your classmates and take their suggestions seriously. You may find that their feedback echoes your professor's or that they notice things your professor didn't. Save your original draft and then test out your ideas in a new draft. See what works and what doesn't. While they may give you great advice, it is possible that the advice doesn't quite fit what you're trying to do with your writing. And that's okay. You're not obligated to make any of the suggested changes from your classmates or even from your professor. However, If they are pointing out areas for revision, you will still want to make some kind of revision to those areas. If you come up with your own solution, great! Additionally, you may notice that your classmates pointed out issues in one area of your paper, but you see similar issues in other areas. Take their comments and apply them to those areas too. You are not limited to revising only what your classmates and your professor pointed out. Revise until you are happy with what you have written. If you have any questions about peer review or how to use feedback to revise your work, please contact your professor or visit the APSU Writing Center located on the first floor of the Felix G. Woodward Library.